Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette. I met Michelle probably like a year and a half ago.
I think so.
Yeah. You came to my shop after going to the fair with Chris. Yeah. I own a spiritual wellness center in Liverpool. All of my life I've kind of been different. Like I've always had a ton of friends and like hung out with different people. And I always attracted all these people, and I would always like be really happy and feeling good, and then all of a sudden I would be miserable or like a little biatchy, or I wouldn't feel good, and I've had all these aches and pains, and my parents would always bring me to the doctors. Then I started seeing things, and there was nothing wrong with my eyes. They couldn't find anything wrong with my body. They were like, she's a hypochondriac, she's sensitive, she's this, she's that, blah, 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 blah. So for a good chunk of my life, I really just thought there was really something wrong with me. And it wasn't until I had my midlife crisis and my girlfriend was like, go and get a psychic reading. And I was like, oh. But I went and got it anyhow. And little did I know that like going and getting that reading would totally change my life. Like the first thing she told me was that I was an empath. And I was like, an empath? What the hell is that? And she told me like that I had a very high vibration, that I attracted a lot of people, and that I absorbed their stuff. And I always wanted to take control and fix everything, which was totally true. I did. And then she told me that I was a healer, that I was here to help heal humanity. And I kind of looked at her and thought she was a little crazy. I was like, and she was like, I see you doing this. And I had just graduated from massage school. So I was like, oh, well, that would make sense. And she's like, no, I see you doing Reiki. And I was like, no, I'm not doing Reiki. Like, I don't want any part of that. And then literally probably about a month later,
Sorry.
oh, I was like, what is that pointing?
Spirits. We all know that was perfect.
That's so funny.
There's some serious vibration. You're right. So sorry.
That's okay. And then literally a couple weeks later, I was driving home from work one day, and I was like, I just need to get this empath and all this stuff like under control. Like, I need to know what the heck is going on here with me. Because I kept searching for answers, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And the first thing she told me was, stop searching for answers. There's not a damn thing wrong with you. And I was like, okay.
Thank God, somebody.
I know, right? Because I researched. I'm a Gemini, and we are all about the knowledge. We need to know how it works, why it works, where it comes from. Like, we need to know it all, and we needed to know it yesterday. And I was driving home from work, and clear as day, I literally heard a man's voice. Like, there was a man sitting in me in my passenger seat, and he said, Jeanette, you need to go to church, and you need to take the Reiki class. And I was just like, okay. Like, I had no idea where that was coming from. And I did. I started going to church, and then I took the Reiki class, and then I was hooked after that first class. Like, I did 1, 2, 3 in Usui. Then I did 1, 2, 3 in Kiruna. Then I opened up my spiritual wellness center, and then I started seeing things. Like, first it was people in pictures. Like, I would always get these random messages on Facebook before I even started this journey of people telling me about my aura and my energy, and that I was the master of LOA and all this other stuff. And I'd be like, LOA, what the hell's that? Like, I have no idea what this is. And then I heard one day somebody like whisper in my ear, and they were like, law of attraction. And I was like, what's that? So then I started researching a little bit more and kind of just like picking little things from here and there. I would see pictures. I would read, little did I know, I would read the photographs of the people that sent me friend requests, and I would just kind of look at the picture, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, no, delete. Or I would look at the photograph, and I would be like, who are all these people in the picture? So then one day I messaged somebody, and I was like, who are all these people in the photograph with you? Like, are you standing in front of a mirror? Like, who are these people? And he was like, you're crazy, lady. There's nobody in the picture with me. And I was like, and that's when I knew I started seeing spirits and photographs with people. Like, even when I went to Lilydale 3 years ago for the first time, and I went into the museum and I looked at the photographs of spirit, and they were like 5 spirits caught in this photograph. I looked at the book one day, and I told the guy, I think his name's Ed or Dan, that runs the museum there in Lilydale, and I was like, somebody made a mistake on this book. And he's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, it says only 5 spirits. I'm like, I see 8. And he's like, where do you see them? And I was like, here. And he's like, oh, I never even noticed those before. And I was like, yeah. So I've really been drawn to helping people. Like all of my life, I've wanted to help people. Like I've always friended the nerds, the geeks. I've always been friends with all the different walks of life. Like I've never had one specific category, and I still don't, because I've always loved and accepted everybody for who they are. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've worked along this lesson, is really learning to love and accept myself unconditionally without judgment, like I already do for everybody that I come into contact with. And then I had a couple messages last summer where like Jesus came to me with specific messages. And then about 2.5 months ago, I had a very interesting experience where I had gone through a bad breakup, and I was trying to really stick to meditating, and I was laying down meditating, and all of a sudden I just broke down in tears, like, why is all this happening right now? Like, I'm doing so good working on my stuff and owning my stuff, and I just had this experience where like this like yellow white energy like all of a sudden just hovered all around me, and like my whole body literally started shaking, almost like I was having a seizure, but it wasn't a seizure. Like I wasn't afraid at all during this. And then it was literally like somebody stuck their hand down into my stomach, my solar plexus area, and was like turning it all around and like pulling stuff out. And then all of a sudden I felt this very calm and peaceful, and then I've just been so full of like love and life, like I just want to sprinkle it everywhere. Like, and then when I talked to my pastor about it at church and my girlfriend, they said that I had been touched by the Holy Spirit and to stop analyzing it and to just roll with it. So I am, but I love this journey. Like I just love helping people, because it's so hard to like try to explain to people like what you're seeing or you're feeling or you're getting, because a lot of times they just look at you like you're crazy. They're like, this lady's crazy. You know, it's like they want to be around me because they feel really good when they're around me. Right. And little did I know that that was because they were drawn to the energy, and they were like kind of sucking the energy out of me. And then after they would leave, and I would feel totally depleted and exhausted, and I'd be like, what the heck's going on here? And then they would message me, oh, I need to take a nap. I don't feel good anymore. And I'm like, well, duh, because you sucked all my energy up. Like, so I did start to learn practices of like shielding myself and like noticing if I feel something that all of a sudden I didn't feel before, I would just say silently, that's not mine, and then see what happens. And 95% of the time it would just literally just roll off of me. Yep. But then I noticed too, I would like read people not even knowing it. The entire 26 years of my hairstylist career, I would intuitively tap into people's higher selves and give them readings the entire time they were in my chair, not even knowing that's what I would do. And people just loved me, and they would be like, you touched base on so much stuff that I needed to hear. And I would just be like, how did we get talking about this? Like, how did we go from your hair color being this to all of a sudden talking about like being drugged in college and like sexually assaulted, or just like all these different, and that was one of the biggest things I learned too about this journey. Was I had been sexually assaulted as a teenager, and I kind of really pushed it down and buried it, and like kind of thought if I didn't talk about it, it would just disappear. Because at the time I was really afraid to tell my father, because I was only 17, of why I was where I was at, doing what I was doing with the people that I was doing it with. That I kind of blocked it out for a long time.
It's one of the things that was pulled out of you.
Yes. And when
it was washed away.
And when I started this journey with that first psychic reading that told me that I was an empath and everything else, I did all the healing, and the Reiki kind of brought everything to the surface for me. And that's why I opened up my center, was because I think everybody would benefit from healing work, because it is so powerful. And we all have the gift of heal. And just like we all have the abilities and all the different gifts, it's just a matter of tuning in and tapping into them and really listening to yourself and how you feel with the choices that you make, and being sensitive. And empaths, we can very easily be swayed in agreeing to do something. I would be with my girlfriends when I bartended in massage school before I even got into this journey, and they'd be like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, let's do this Friday night. Oh, let's do this Saturday. And I'd be all, yeah, let's do this. And then as that week progressed, starting on Monday, I would start not feeling good. I would be tired. I would have a headache. I would have a stomach ache. I really didn't want to even do this. And that's when I learned that we were combining the energies. And because for me, like, my root chakra and crown chakra are undefined because that's the area for me to gain the most growth in this lifetime, which I learned that through a human design report, which is amazing. Through, I think it's Linda Biasi is her name. She does these things based all on numerology, the vibration of your name, your birthday, the location, and then it's this really detailed report.
It's human design you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yes, that tells all the way, it tells how you are designed, and like a lot of us are misunderstood because we're free spirits, because I would attract people and be very friendly like I am with everybody, and certain men and women would think that I was like into them and want to have a relationship with them, and I'd be like, why do they keep thinking I want to date them? Like I'm just being nice, like.
You're a Gemini.
And in this report, it said, because I'm a free spirit, a lot of times I'm misunderstood. People think, and I have very strong sensual energy, so a lot of times people can really pick up on that very quickly too and think that that means that I'm interested in them, which I'm totally not. But I learned through that because of that, I could very easily, energetically be influenced with people who were defined in their crown and their root chakras, and that's why I would agree to do things, and then as the time approached, I'd be like, yeah, no, I don't. And that's why 95% of the plans I made, I always canceled at the last minute. I would literally bail at the very last minute. I don't feel good. I'm not feeling it now. And I would make up some excuse like, oh, I don't feel good. I have a headache. And I mean, I kind of did, but I really just didn't want to do it. And that's when I really learned to start just saying no is a complete sentence and not explaining myself. Because I feel as women, we are taught at a very young age that we are to be everything. And then when all of that is depleted, then whatever's left we take for us. And that's not how it is. That is not how it can be. We can't give. And when I started getting heavily into church and like reading my daily devotional Bible by Sarah Young, I had read this one passage, scripture, about 3.5 years ago. And it had said, time and energy are precious commodities. Choose how you spend those wisely. And that was like a bell went off. And I was like, and that's when I really started weighing the exchange of energy. When my friends wanted me to do something, I'd be like, yeah, no, I got plans. Sorry, I'm not. And it could be just sitting at home in silence, meditating, painting my toenails, working on my vision board, my affirmation board, like you name it, I'm doing it all. And I would be like, no, is a complete sentence, and I wouldn't even explain myself anymore because I'm like, they're going to get all this wonderful energy and this and I'm going to be feeling like somebody sucked the life out of me with a shop vac. I'm good. No. Yes. But I love this journey, and I love all the connections because I really feel a lot of us are here as healers to help heal humanity and to share our stories, our words of wisdom and encouragement and of love and compassion to help people to get to where we're at, to kind of help them along their journey. And I feel too, we always get that little like soul vibe, like our soul tribe, like the peoples we've been connected with in past lives, where we set up, in past lives to come into contact in this lifetime. The ones that you meet where it just clicks and you're like, oh, I feel like I've known you forever, and you just met them like 30 minutes ago, and just really bounce our ideas off of one another to help lift each other up, to continue moving forward along the journey of self-discovery and of healing. And I just want to put a plug in really quick for a book I just finished reading, if you guys haven't read it yet, Untethered Soul. When I first started this journey, I was really drawn to the heart chakra. Like even when I started my practice, and I started on a very low budget because I had gone through a very bad divorce, I figured, well, I'll just get the heart chakra bowl because it's in the center of all the chakras, and I figure if the heart's good, everything else will fall into place. And I really believe that to be true, especially with tuning into your abilities and shielding, protecting, and also healing the people that you come into contact with. And this book focuses on opening up the heart chakra and connecting to your higher power, whoever that may be, Jesus, the universe, God. But it helps you really learn that we aren't our experience, because so often through life we feel that we are our experiences, and our experiences are who we are, and our experiences do not define who we are. They help us to grow and to heal and to peel away the layers to who we really are. But a lot of times we don't express our emotions. We kind of push them down, and forget about them and not honor them. But little do we know that that causes a lot of physical illness, disease, and pain within us. And it's almost like we manifest our illnesses and our diseases and our pains because we aren't honoring our emotions by expressing them. Because we're told we're too sensitive, or we talk too much, or we're drama, or we're this, or we're that, or, oh, you should be an actress, you know?
Oh, jeez.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so then we push those feelings down, and then we keep moving through life, and then things trigger these experiences: a smell, a person, the color of a car, a song, a phrase. And then it's kind of like we close our hearts even more because we remember that experience. Then we start to relive that experience over and over again in our minds, playing out the conversation, the things that happened to us, all things that we have no control over. We cannot change the past at all. Just like we can't control the future. That's why it's so important to stay in the moment, to really be in the present, because when you're fully in the present, in the right here, the right now, all is well. We're good, we're breathing, we can see, feel, taste, touch, and smell. We can see all the beauty that's in and around us. And, you know, and when we let those experiences come up, our heart closes more, so then we start to shut down more, and we're like, oh, we're not going to do this anymore. This causes too much pain. It hurts too much. Oh, we're not going to love again because they just ripped out our heart, chewed it up, and stomped it on the ground and did a little dance and set it on fire. Because I really believe, like, we are not here to be alone. We are here to be together. All is one, but we are also meant to be with a partner to share that journey with and to learn and to grow from.
Well, we grow the most within relationships.
Yes, we do. All forms of
All forms of
relationships.
relationships.
Yes.
And what you said about the heart, absolutely right on target. Because heart, mind, this right here, strong, this is your portal to get to yourself.
It is.
So the stronger your heart is, the stronger you are.
Exactly.
You can shift all your moods. Put a nice, beautiful love
Yes.
song on. Guess what's happening to your heart?
Yes.
A strong heart.
Yes.
Right? And as far as like rewriting the past, you can't really change the past, but you can reframe your past in a way that is empowering. And it takes a healing journey with it. As far as changing the future, we make the future every day by how we act today and what we do. So and we have choice. It's not like we're doomed to this future. Everything is written in stone. There are certain things that are going to happen because we planned for that to happen, and there are certain things that are going to manifest and that are going to be part of this that you don't even know they're coming from left field. Where did that come from? Why did that happen to me? There's always a reason why something shows up. Now the question is, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly, yes. Because the mind is so powerful. We use such a small percentage of our minds, but literally all the people that we come into contact, all the situations that we experience are all things that we manifest. Everything that we go through, we bring to us, either as a lesson to learn to open our hearts up more and to grow, or to teach somebody that very same lesson. And that's why, like in January, when my whole life fell apart, I was sick for 6 weeks energetically. I didn't go to the doctors because I knew they would just want to put me on some form of pill. And I literally felt like somebody had sucked the life out of me and rolled over me with a tractor trailer. Like I could barely function. I was so disconnected. I felt like fuzzy.
Did you have a hard time breathing?
Yes, there was
a hard time just to take a breath.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I could barely even move. Like, and I knew, I was like, I've got to snap out of this. Like I need to figure out what is going on with this. And then the universe just stepped right in and like rolled me up in a ball and kicked me out the door, rolled me down the stairs. And then I ended up moving. And then the minute I moved and I started unpacking and getting situated, it was like everything just started falling right back into place again. And so it is you can get to who you really are, but you have to be able to really ground and shield yourself and protect yourself and ask yourself when you're going through something, what is the love in this? Like always try to come from a place of love, because love is what we're born with and fear is what we're taught. We are not born with fear at all. And when you look at each situation and be like, well, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Like, what is the big message from this right now? Usually it's to really love and honor yourself and to be a little bit more selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we as women are taught at such a young age to give, to do.
Selfish to give to yourself.
It is totally not
Well,
selfish.
We like to give
Yes,
and give and
Right.
give, but when are we giving to ourselves?
exactly.
My self-worth depended on how much you thought of me. And
Yes.
I get to that by doing things for you.
Right.
And that is, so when you're the source of your own love and you give to yourself, then whatever comes, what it doesn't come, it doesn't impact you.
Well, the thing is I was never taught that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And I have to learn that. And then I punished myself for a long
No
time
more
for
punishing.
things in the past. But I did read that book.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, just in the past, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress for something that happened, and it was like true. You could see a red car, and the person
Yes.
that hurt you had a red car.
Yes.
And the thing is that I did cut off emotionally because I didn't know what to do with it. And then emotions become unsafe. It's like if you can't express your pain, I think it comes out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
So, so I think for me, it's like a ketchup jar. Like there's a lot of emotions there that are so strong, and it's like I'm trying to learn how to let it out without it consuming.
Yes.
That's why I think at first, like it's like.
It was an avalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really feel strongly like that you would be good with journaling, like journaling your feelings and writing them down. I also feel too, like, I forget what the name of it is called, but if you take like a stuffed animal or something, like an animal that you don't like, like a cheap one from the store or whatever, and like just set it in the chair and just say, have a conversation with the animals if it's a person who has harmed or hurt you or caused you a lot of suffering, and just go off on them, rip the arms off, beat it around, like do whatever it is, but you have to go with what feels good for you.
I was told to like yell, and it's like I wasn't allowed to do that. That's not allowed.
And it's stuffing your emotions are stuffed there.
Yeah.
Human.
Yeah.
And emotions
Yeah.
You're not allowed.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to, when you said be in control, it's like, you don't. But one time I got my aura read, I don't know what this means, that it was a geological shape in your chakra. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means anything.
Yeah.
But,
Fibonacci?
my daughter died of SIDS when she was 5 months old, and so I think I'm just, even before that, you said trauma, so I think I'm just grasping to find how to process this stuff.
Yeah, I do. I feel, I feel too like you really need to forgive yourself.
That's the big thing. And
you carry a lot of judgment on yourself. I'm not saying that to like put you totally on the spot here, but you really need to forgive yourself. Those are all things, there's nothing you could have said or done to switch anything at all or change it. That's the thing, like I'm a big believer, my son's walked away unscathed from 4 major car accidents where he should have been killed in those car accidents, and that's why I'm so into the angels, because the angels, when things are destined to happen, the angels come to comfort, but they only intervene when it's something and it's not your time. And I believe that before we even enter this world, right here and now, that our time of entry and leaving has already been determined, and there is not really anything that we can do to alter that unless we decide to take it into our own hands. And even then, I feel like that's already been predetermined. We already set that lesson up when we came here.
Yes, in a blueprint.
Yes.